with its shuttered stone cottages and quiet cobbled streets, a part of her could still argue not. Yes, she appreciated the place's natural charm. Who wouldn't? And passing through the village square, she easily envisaged herself sitting outside the little coffee shop, enjoying a pain au chocolat and a grande café crème. Looking at the currently empty tables, however, the words fun and frivolity didn't exactly spring to mind. The village couldn't have been further from gay Paris if it tried. Still, it is beautiful here, she supposed, trying to remain positive as they meandered out of town, leaving it behind in favour of cornfields and autumnal sunshine as far as the eye could see. In 200 metres, keep right. As she once again did as instructed, the car groaned. Flick sympathised. No doubt it felt as eager to reach their journey's end as she, due to all the weight it was carrying. Also, courtesy of her mom, Flick noted, who insisted they pack everything from a pair of sleeping bags to their Sunday best, along with everything in between. Unable to see through the car's rear window, Flick yet again had to wonder what this French escape of theirs entailed. Even her dad's casket of ashes had been squeezed in for goodness sake, her mom describing his presence as some sort of swan song, whatever that meant. Naturally, Flick had inquired about where they were headed. Numerous times, in fact. But while, much to Flick's relief, her mom had readily confirmed they would not, indeed, be camping, no other clues had been forthcoming. She glanced her mother's way once more, recalling how, according to this particular sleeping beauty, the element of surprise only added to the adventure. Continuing to drive, Flick knew her mom meant well. Both her parents had never had anything but her best interest at heart. And now they'd gotten to France, she had to admit she was glad of the opportunity to get away from it all. In France, no one knew. No one could judge. She tried to dismiss the unwanted thoughts invading her head. The shock and confusion at Matthew's disappearance. The downright humiliation as events had unfolded. She didn't think she'd ever forget the gossip she had to contend with. She could still hear the whispering behind hands, as if she'd somehow brought everything on herself. Thanks to everyone's eagerness for the next juicy installment, it was as if her life had turned into a soap opera. She cringed. No wonder her embarrassment over the whole thing was as strong as it had always been. No wonder she had a mother hell-bent on getting her away from it all. As usual, when Flick thought about Matthew, the same question arose over and over. Why? The hours she'd spent racking her brains, trying to come up with some sort of answer. She even questioned herself. Should she have seen it coming? Were there any clues that she'd somehow missed? Did he try to tell her that he'd changed his mind and she just hadn't heard? To this day she came up with nothing, and with Matthew in the wind it wasn't as if she was going to get an explanation any time soon. Brenda's snoring suddenly got louder, and Flick grimaced, as it went from slightly hoarse to downright throaty. She struggled to decide which was worse, thinking about Matthew or listening to this. Thankfully, she spotted a tractor up ahead, and, forced to slow down and drop a gear, she breathed a sigh of relief. Never had the sound of a rumbling vehicle engine been so welcoming. She wound down her window, happy to amble along behind. Not that she expected her respite to last. If her instincts were right, the tractor would be turning off into an adjacent field soon, its driver intent on harvesting his crops in preparation for the coming winter. Passing a line of trees, she took in the fallen leaves and spiky chestnut husks that littered the ground. She'd always loved this time of year, and not just for the windfall of food supplies it provided. Thanks to the rich riot of colour, in Flick's view, autumn seemed to show nature at its very best. Sure enough, the tractor's right indicator blinked, signalling it was about to turn before going on its way. Back to focusing on their journey, Flick checked the timer on the sat-nav. According to its display, it wouldn't be long before they reached their final destination, and she'd at last find out what she was letting herself in for. Her stomach churned. She didn't like surprises. Not anymore. She caught her reflection in the rear-view mirror, and giving herself a long, hard stare, the face looking back wasn't pretty. Even to her own eyes she looked tired and miserable. She'd lost her spark. Her once bouncy dark hair appeared dull and